Time, the thing which reminds us when we are getting older, the thing which gives us structure to our entire lives, and the thing which some seem to have a lot of while others seem to have none at all. We all have the same time, but for some reason this time goes much faster than for others. And I think one of the biggest goals in human life needs to be to make sure that you don't have a feeling that time is flying past you, the goal which most people can't reach. But why does it happen? Why does time seem to fly faster with each year of your existence? Understanding that might be easier if we dive right into the moment of our birth. Imagine you were born. You can't talk or walk, you can only cry. You experience everything for the first time. The first bite of food, the first sip of water, and the first breath of air. Everything is new and needs to be discovered. In the process of discovering, everything seems interesting, and time seems to pass very slowly. A bit later, you go to school, find your first friends, and discover your interests. This sequence of new experiences usually continues until you finish school or university. Why? Because everything becomes routine. Everyone has their own daily routine. It's like time itself, it gives our lives structure, which doesn't always help us in the end. Each day, you go to the same grocery store to buy the same products for yourself, go to your job in the same building, and encounter the same people you've met previously in your life. Everything doesn't seem that bad, but you start not to notice how many weeks or months are ending. Week after week, month after month, you thought that you recently celebrated your birthday, but here's your birthday again. How does it happen? Or better to say, how can it be prevented? There are two ways to prevent this. The first one is to accept your routine and how fast it goes, and the second is to try and change up your routine along with yourself. We will discuss each separately. Acceptance is a good skill overall. If you like the environment and people around you and you don't want some crazy things changing in your life, accepting the fact that time will go faster can be a good choice for you. It's completely okay to love going to places you've been your whole life and wanting to meet people you've known your whole life. Just think about how happy you actually are at the moment and in the environment around you. Consider how happy you'll be if you change your environment, because even though you find the time flying by you as a problem, it's not the biggest problem in your life. I can guarantee you that if you change your environment, time will seem to be a bit slower, but I can't guarantee that you'll be happier because of it. For me, and I believe for many others, the most important thing is to find happiness or peace. If you sacrifice your happiness just to feel that time goes a bit slower, you might be a bit wrong with your goals. But I think we're all here not to accept the fact that time will just fly past us, but to do something to slow it down a bit. So, to say it short and quick, what we need to do is simply change our environment. It could be a new city, nation, or even continent. The most important thing is that it must differ from what we see every day. I don't mean completely changing your location for your whole life. I mean traveling. Traveling is amazing for those who are looking for new emotions and especially good for those who are looking to slow their time down a bit. Every time you go to some new place, you discover something new. Where can I buy sunglasses? Can I find my favorite tiramisu cake here? Who are the people living here? There are a couple of hundreds of questions you ask throughout your trip. When everything is new and you haven't seen it previously, you start to feel that time is going slower. Discovering is a skill that society underestimates for some reason. It's in human nature to look for something new. Even ancient people were looking for new lands or other people, despite having all the land in their hands. They could stay in one place and elevate their house or village, but they still insisted on discovering. Why? As I said before, it's in human nature. Nowadays, people make decisions based on what's right in their minds, not on what they feel. Ancient people, on the other hand, made decisions based on what they felt was right, even if the chance of dying was higher. When you ask yourself why you don't travel or travel only once in a couple of years, you usually come to the conclusion that either it's not sensible and you can spend this time at home with nothing worse than somewhere else, or it will cost a lot. However, both of these reasons are a bit senseless. What do you have at home that you can't find anywhere else? Your TV, bathroom, or couch? You can't belong to materialistic things. The only thing that you can belong to is the people. Parents, siblings, friends. All these people you have connections with whom you don't want to lose. But who said that you need to travel alone? You can't take a couch with you while traveling, of course, unless you're crazy. But you can take a couple of close people with you, making your trip even more interesting and memorable. People are usually used to living in their memories. They collect them throughout their lives and periodically recall or share them. I can guarantee you that even if your trip is completely terrible, it will still be more memorable than 7 nights in a row playing Fortnite. Another reason why people don't want to travel is that they think it costs a lot. It's more like a myth that traveling is expensive though. Maybe it's because you see luxury travel videos on Instagram all the time. But your travel doesn't need to include a Lamborghini or a villa with a view of the sea. It could easily be cheap and no less memorable. Of course, if you're not planning to travel to a different continent, it could be a bit more expensive. To provide an example of someone who managed to escape his routine, I choose Carl Fredricksen from the movie Up. Carl lost his beloved wife Ellie. They both had a dream to travel to Paradise Falls down in South America, but due to different reasons, they were unable to fulfill their dream. After Ellie's death, Carl becomes increasingly withdrawn and stuck in a monotonous routine. He lives in the same house they shared, surrounded by memories of their life together. Each day blends into the next. Time seems to fly past, and Carl feels like he's merely existing rather than truly living. When Carl faces the prospect of losing his home to urban development, he decides that he has nothing left to lose and goes on an adventure on his home with balloons to fulfill Ellie's dream of reaching Paradise Falls. Even though, at the beginning, Carl, after such a sad event in his life, closed himself off and started to live in the same routine, with time, he was able to find the strength to change everything around him. Despite struggling to even walk, he understood that there was nothing holding him back from fulfilling his and his beloved wife's dream. He could have gone to a nursing home like any other elderly man and lived a peaceful life, but he decided to risk everything for the dream he and his wife had dreamed about their whole life. Even though I don't recommend economizing one ticket like Carl did and attaching balloons to your roof with the hope that it will fly, I do recommend being like Carl in terms of his attitude towards life. Even in his old age, he understood that he didn't want to live a miserable life day by day without any hope that tomorrow would be different. He tries to change something to feel that he is living his best life, no matter what age he is, reminding us that age is just a number. In conclusion, I want to say that no matter how old you are or what stage of your life you're in, if you feel the time is flying past you, just try traveling. Go somewhere for a week or two and see how quickly time feels compared to how it feels now. And afterward, come back to this video to comment whether what I said was true or not. And that's all for today.
The end.